5. Silent signs your arteries are aging. Have you ever wondered if your arteries could be aging, even when you feel completely fine? Most people assume that heart problems come with obvious warning signs: chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue. But the reality is very different. In many cases, the earliest changes inside your arteries happen silently. No pain, no clear symptoms, no warning, and by the time something feels wrong, the process may have already been developing for years. So how can you tell if your arteries are aging? Today, we're going to break down 5 silent signs that often go unnoticed but reveal what's really happening inside your body. Sign number 1, subtle changes in blood pressure. Most people think of high blood pressure as something obvious, but before it becomes a diagnosis, there are often small, quiet changes. Your blood pressure may rise slightly in the morning. It may spike more easily under stress, or it may fluctuate more than it used to. You might feel completely normal, but inside your arteries, something is changing. As arteries become stiffer, they lose their ability to absorb pressure from each heartbeat. Instead of cushioning that force, the pressure moves more directly through the system. Over time, this leads to higher systolic pressure, the top number in your blood pressure reading. And even small increases can be an early signal that your arteries are losing flexibility. Sign number 2, reduced vascular responsiveness. Healthy arteries are dynamic. They constantly adjust to your body's needs. During exercise, they widen to increase blood flow. During rest, they regulate pressure and circulation. This adaptability is essential. But as arteries age, this responsiveness begins to decline. This is often linked to something called endothelial dysfunction. The endothelium is the inner lining of your blood vessels. It plays a key role in controlling how your arteries behave. One of its most important functions is producing nitric oxide. Nitric oxide tells your arteries to relax. It allows blood to flow more easily. But over time, nitric oxide production can decrease. At the same time, oxidative stress can increase. This creates an imbalance. Your arteries become less able to respond, less able to adapt, and less efficient at regulating blood flow. You won't feel this directly, but your circulation is already changing. Sign number 3, low-grade chronic inflammation. When most people think of inflammation, they think of pain or illness. But there is another type that is much more subtle: low-grade chronic inflammation. It doesn't cause obvious symptoms, but it quietly affects your arteries over time. Inflammatory signals can damage the inner lining of your blood vessels. They can make the environment inside your arteries more unstable, and they accelerate many of the processes involved in arterial aging. This type of inflammation is often influenced by lifestyle factors: diet, stress, sleep, metabolic health, and because it operates in the background, most people don't realize it's happening. Sign number 4, early plaque development. When people hear the word plaque, they imagine large blockages, but plaque doesn't start that way. It begins as small accumulations inside the artery wall. At this stage, it may not affect blood flow at all. In fact, your arteries can expand outward to compensate. This is known as positive remodeling, so blood flow can still appear completely normal, and you may feel perfectly fine. But beneath the surface, the structure of the artery is already changing. Over time, plaque can grow. It can become more complex, and in some cases, more unstable, which increases the risk of sudden events later on. Sign number 5, gradual loss of arterial flexibility. This is one of the most important changes and one of the hardest to notice. Young, healthy arteries are flexible and elastic. They stretch and recoil with each heartbeat. This helps maintain smooth, steady blood flow. But over time, that flexibility begins to decline. Elastic fibers break down, collagen becomes more dominant, and in some cases, calcium begins to accumulate. All of this contributes to arterial stiffness. And as stiffness increases, the entire cardiovascular system is affected. Blood pressure rises. The heart works harder. Circulation becomes less efficient. But again, this process is silent. You won't feel your arteries becoming stiffer. It happens gradually, over years. Now, let's step back and look at the bigger picture. These 5 signs are not isolated. They are connected. Subtle blood pressure changes, reduced responsiveness, inflammation, plaque development, loss of flexibility. Each one reinforces the others, and together, they create a pattern. A pattern that reflects how your arteries are aging. But there's something else happening beneath the surface. As arteries stiffen, pressure waves move faster through your vascular system. This is known as increased pulse wave velocity. In younger arteries, these waves travel more slowly and are absorbed more effectively. But in stiffer arteries, they reflect back more quickly. This increases the load on the heart, and over time, it contributes to cardiovascular strain. Metabolism also plays a role. After the age of 40, your body may become less sensitive to insulin. Blood sugar levels may rise more easily, and this has direct effects on your arteries. Elevated blood sugar can damage the endothelium. It increases oxidative stress, and it accelerates inflammation. All of these factors contribute to arterial aging. Body composition matters too. As people age, muscle mass tends to decrease if it is not maintained. At the same time, visceral fat often increases. This type of fat is metabolically active. It releases inflammatory signals into the bloodstream, and these signals directly affect your arteries. They promote inflammation, they influence plaque development, and they contribute to long-term vascular changes. Stress is another key factor. When you experience stress, your body releases hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These increase heart rate and blood pressure. If this happens occasionally, your body recovers. But if it happens frequently, it creates constant strain on your arteries. Over time, this contributes to stiffness and dysfunction. Sleep also plays a critical role. During sleep, your body repairs and resets many systems. Blood pressure decreases, inflammation is regulated, and your vascular system recovers. But when sleep is poor or inconsistent, these processes are disrupted, and arterial aging can accelerate. Now here's something important to understand. Arterial aging is not the same for everyone. Two people of the same age can have very different vascular health, because it's not just about time. It's about cumulative exposure, daily habits, long-term patterns, and how consistently you support your body. And here's the encouraging part. While aging is inevitable, some structural changes are difficult to reverse, but function can improve. Endothelial function can recover. Nitric oxide production can increase. Circulation can become more efficient, and arterial flexibility can be supported. So what can you do? You don't need extreme changes. You need consistent ones. Regular movement improves blood flow and vascular function. Balanced nutrition helps regulate inflammation and metabolism. Good sleep supports recovery. Stress management reduces long-term strain. Even simple habits like walking daily can have measurable effects over time. Because your arteries are not passive, they are living, dynamic structures. They respond to your environment, they reflect your habits, and they adapt over time. And in the end, the most important thing to remember is this. The most dangerous changes in your arteries are not the ones you feel. They are the ones happening quietly, right now, inside your body. And the sooner you understand them, the more control you have over your long-term health.